Hello, this is Garrett Hop coming to you live from the road home from work. As Mother's Day is approaching in a couple weeks, let's talk about mothers. You might have heard of the saying, what is the measure of a man? Well, tonight let's talk about the measure of a mother. In The Family, A Proclamation to the World, which is a document that was written by the First Presidency and the Quorum of the 12 Apostles of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which was presented at a General Relief Society meeting back in 1995, which makes it about in September, it'll be about 22 years. 22 years old, that document. And there's truths in the document. And stuff that you see now that people back in 1990 were like, whoa, this is not gonna happen, man. A mother is supposed to nurture and love her children. A mother is supposed to be there for her kids in times of need. There are some people out there that don't even talk to their own mother because, for various reasons. A mother is the person in someone's life who is the nurturing, loving one. Sometimes some people may not be fit to be a mother at times. The measure of a mother, I'm trying to say is, the measure is to be there for their kids by nurturing, loving them. If they don't, they just ruin themselves. Hello. Today, I want to talk about something I made a video about a couple years ago. That video was entitled The Measure of a Mother. And I think it's appropriate to revisit this topic, being, a few years older since I made that video. So here we go. The measure of a mother is a very sensitive topic. A mother is supposed to be nurturing. A mother is supposed to be there for her children. I grew up in a single parent home, and I had to grow up early because my mom just couldn't handle that life as a single mother after some years of being a single mother and raising 5 kids. Once in a while, she'll not come to Special Olympics events and this, that, things mothers are supposed to do for their children. And people have the audacity to tell me, you should love your mother. You should talk to your mother. No. It's like, it's like, isn't it part of the, the repentance process, to make reconciliation, It's like, yes, but here's the thing. You can forgive someone. Such as I have forgiven my mother for failing to stand up to that measure she is supposed to be at. I've forgiven her. And not wanting to do anything with her in my life, I don't want her in my life. That's fine. I'm not going to be damned to hell for not wanting her. Because I've moved on. Because she failed to be up to that measure that a mother should be at. And now some people's gonna say, whoa, your expectations way too high. No. There's some where where the human comes into it, the human factor, but overall, the measure of a mother is high, but it's high enough to where almost every single person that is a mother can reach. And my mother failed to do that. I don't want her in my life. I'm done with her because I don't want disappointment in my life again. She was the reason I became a foster child at the age of 15. She's the reason I learned so much through the system of foster care and a lot of stuff. And because of her failures, I've grown, but also I've learned what not to do. So, if you're the type of person who's going to be like, you should do this, this, and this because she's your mother, don't. Because you don't understand what that person's feelings are. Because here's the thing. Feelings take into account because that's how as humans are, we feel. But knowing how a person feels is way better than demanding them or telling them straight to their face, you should do this because she's your mother. No, she's not my mother. She forfeited that right. When crap hit the fan. That's me personally. Okay. I know some people out there who don't talk to their mothers because of falling out or whatever. But most of all, just remember that she's supposed to love you. She is supposed to nurture you. She's supposed to take care of you. She's supposed to everything the father's supposed to, according to the family, a proclamation to the world, in cases of divorce. But most of all, if she failed to discharge her duties as a mother, she will be held accountable before God. And that's where I'm at in my life. I've forgiven her for trespasses. But I just don't want her in my life. Now, when she dies, she has to stand before the judgment seat of God for failing to discharge her duties as a mother. Till next time, Godspeed and happy hunting. Hey, this is Garrett Hobby. Today I'm going to record part 3 of The Measure of a Mother. Back in 2017, I made a video entitled The Measure of a Mother, entailed my opinion on motherhood and mothers due to my own mother. And then a couple years later, in 2019, I did a part 2. I'm 2 years older, 2 years wiser. Now, 2 years later, we're on part 3. This sequel is going to be slightly different. Because the measure of a mother we measure a mother by how they raise their children, how they deal with daunting tasks that every parent goes through, from a firstborn child, who's sick and they're just scared out of their minds, to breaking off a relationship with a significant other who might be the other parent to their child. Many of you may or may not know, I grew up in a single parent home with a single mother. It was not the best, but I had to learn things that no child should ever learn. But because of it, I've become a better person, and I can teach my own kids in the future, when I have kids, teach them things that I wasn't taught until years later. To anyone that is a single parent, don't worry. People will always be near when you need help. All you have to do is ask. My mother did not ask. That's where she failed in that to the measure of a mother. At times she did not ask for the help that she needed. I turned out not the best, but I have learned not to make the same mistakes she did. So, whatever you may be going through, just remember, you have people that love you and care about you, who are willing to help you. To the single parents out there, again, all you have to do is ask. For those who read a post some time back, I talked about forgiving my mother for my childhood back in February 2020. That has been a relief off of my shoulders. Now, as Mother's Day approaches, am I going to send her a card? No. Because we don't have that relationship as mother and son. But she knows that I have forgiven her of her trespasses towards me with my childhood. I think we should get rid of measuring a mother against another mother, because every mother is different. But the most important thing a mother should do is nurture their children, love them, teach them. Because that is the best thing they can do. Till next time, Godspeed and happy hunting. Hello, this is Garrett Hoppy, and I am recording part 4 of The Measure of a Mother. I know this has been about a year since I made part 3. I'm skipping the 2-part, about the 2-year difference in between. And unfortunately, this is going to be the last part of The Measure of a Mother. In my last video, about a year ago, I talked to the single mothers out there and, the experience of growing up in a single parent home. First off, I want to read a couple quotes by Elder Patrick Kieran of the Presidency of the 70 of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. These come from a talk he recently did in April 2022 General Conference of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I can't remember exactly the name of the talk, but if you go to churchofjesuschrist.org, go to General Conference April 2022, Saturday afternoon session, Elder Patrick Kieran is the person's name. He said these in his talk that are profound and what I want to hit on with The Measure of a Mother. Quote, "We are all intrigued by survival stories. We hear tales, intrepid explorers and ordinary people alike who manage to keep themselves alive against all odds and expectations. And we can't help but ask ourselves, could I have done that?" Close quote. Further to say, quote, "Perhaps some of you, however, consider the accounts of survivors and your soul cries out that you are living in a survival story right now as a victim of abuse, neglect, bullying, domestic violence, or other suffering of this kind. You are in the midst of your own desperate attempt to survive a situation that feels very much like a disastrous shipwreck or a promising mission suddenly aborted. Will you ever be rescued? Will you make it through your own survival story?" Close quote. Last year in my video, I explained about not measuring a mother by another mother. And I like to affirm that because there are situations where they're impossible to know what's going on from the outside, because how they are in public is different from how they are at home, both for the sake of the mother and the sake of the child. I'm a survivor of this. Yes, I would say I'm a survivor of neglect, of bullying, of verbal abuse. But in particular, it's made me a lot better of a human. But because of my own mother, and again, not asking for the help as I stated in last year's video, but also being verbally abusive and not being who she needs to be, she missed important parts of my life where she should have been, such as my first talk I gave in church. She was not present when I was ordained a priest in the Aaronic priesthood. I didn't invite her when I was ordained an elder in the Melchizedek priesthood. And she was not there when I went through the temple to receive my own endowment. The things I stated are important parts of in the life of members of my church, and particularly men in my church, with being ordained as a priest in the Aaronic priesthood and being ordained an elder in the Melchizedek priesthood. because of not being in my life, she missed those parts later. The first talk I gave in church, she wasn't going to show up. She wanted to, but it's like, no, because she was not there. She was deteriorating, which is sad to say, and she currently is deteriorating mentally still. I am making this the last measure of a mother because it has hit me that judging my own mother from her past as a parent is not the way to go. Making these videos is how to express me and how I feel about her. But now that last year I told you I forgave her in 2020 for my childhood, it's now a time for all of us who don't have relationships with our mothers and they're still alive, tell them you forgive them and move on. Till next time, Godspeed and happy hunting.